Listen again to the words of Jesus in the gospel. Having responded to his inquisitors, he says, finally, give to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God. And that's going to form the basis of the next few minutes of my comments on that part of the gospel text. The encounter between Jesus and the Pharisees and Herodians is really setting the stage for the eventual betrayal, condemnation, and death on a cross. They're setting up this power struggle, and they will win eventually, or at least they think they will. But this sets the stage for those events that are still to come. The words of Jesus recorded here, give to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God's, are often used as an inspiration for or part of a stewardship sermon. But that's not what I'm going to do today. Today I want to have you or invite you to continue with the analogy that Jesus initiates as he responds to his inquisitors. So going back to verses 19 to 21, again, he's been challenged. Is it fair to pay taxes or not? And they think they've got him trapped. And so how does he respond to their question? Show me the coin used for the tax. And they brought him a denarius, we're told. He said to them, well, whose head is this and whose title? They answered, the emperor's. And to repeat the words of Jesus, then he said, give to the emperor the things that are the emperor's, and to God the things that are God's. The Roman coin, of course, had the image of the emperor on it, and that is the coin that was used to pay taxes. Now let me remind you that in Genesis we're told, and we believe, I believe, we are made in the image of God. We bear the image of God, you and me. As human beings created by God, we bear God's image, which means, if we keep the analogy that Jesus initiated, we owe God everything. All that we are is a gift of God. We return that gift by the things that we say and do, how we live our lives, how we reveal this image of God in the world today. We owe God everything, not just a 10%, 15%, 25% tax. We owe God everything. And we are made in the image of God. As an image bearer of a loving, forgiving, generous, gracious God, maybe what we owe God is in this hour of our lives, in this hour of our nation, maybe what we owe God is the very grace generously extended to us, freely given to us by God. We owe God the return of that gift. We hear this gospel story in the midst of a viral pandemic which has weakened many, killed over 200,000 of our fellow citizens. It's disrupted our daily routines, forced many into unemployment, wreaked havoc in the economy, and at the same time there's a growing civil unrest, sometimes devolving into violence. And we're in the midst of an election which really highlights and heightens the divisions within our nation. This is the hour in which we live. We who bear the image of God, who owe God everything, our very breath. As image bearers of this loving, forgiving, generous, and gracious God, we owe it to God to live like that. Indeed, to live like Jesus lived, who also bore the image and was indeed true God from true God, but also human, like you and me, able to reveal that loving, forgiving, generous, and gracious God. Even when things like this gospel story happened and he was challenged about his authority and teaching, even when he was falsely accused, even when he was condemned to death, even when he was dying on the cross, Father, forgive them, he prayed. He revealed the image of God, that loving, forgiving, generous, gracious God, even in those moments. And we are called to reveal that same image in circumstances far less fatal. So I encourage you to be a good citizen in this time. Take part in civic duties, your civic duties. Abide by the laws of the land. Pay taxes. Vote, please. Take that seriously. Vote. Give to the emperor what is due the emperor. But don't forget this story. And be ready to give to God what is God's, what belongs to God. I invite you to take the hymn that we sang just before the gospel. Take that into the week with you. Take that into the week beyond this one. Take that into the election day. Take that into the days after the election. Listen again to the words from the first verse. What does the Lord require? What does the Lord require for praise and glory? This is your debt to God. What offering is being asked of you? What tribute? What sacrifice? And then the refrain which repeats, do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. You are in the image of God. It's a great gift to you. And you owe this God who has gifted you so much, you owe that to love, to do justice, to walk humbly with God. So let's live that way. Let's be a light in the world. Let's indeed reveal in what we say and what we do the image of a loving, forgiving, generous, and gracious God. Amen.